Miguel and Maria Casas, a married couple who have recently become parents, go to a furniture store to choose a coffee table. The sales consultant offers them one of the most expensive tables, explaining how modern and high quality it is. Miguel wants exactly this table, while Maria finds it tasteless and ugly. This leads to a conflict between the spouses, because Miguel's wife had promised to let him make the choice. Yet Maria still does not want to see that piece of junk in her home. Miguel reminds her that she has already chosen the color of the walls, the date of their wedding, even his suit and even his mother's dress. He did not want to have a child, nevertheless Maria was not interested in his opinion. She always makes all the decisions herself. Even the name of their son, Cayetano, she chose without consulting Miguel. The sales consultant interrupts the conversation, saying that his name is Cayetano as well. In any case, they are not arguing about the name right now, but about this table. The salesman claims that if the couple buys this table and takes care of it, it will bring them good luck. These words make Maria laugh and irritate her at the same time. How can anyone take care of a table? It is an object, not a person. Moreover, the claim that the table is made of shatterproof glass is clearly nonsense. The argument wakes baby Cayetano, and he starts crying in his infant carrier. The woman rushes to leave the store, insulting the salesman for his incompetence and arrogance. Miguel decides to buy the table out of principle because Maria has hurt his male pride. The salesman admits that he actually finds the table ugly as well, and hurries Miguel toward the checkout. In the hallway corridor, the couple runs into their neighbor and her 13-year-old daughter, Ruth. The woman jokes that Miguel and Maria should have a third child as soon as possible, because Maria does not have much time left. When they are left alone, Ruth asks Miguel whether he has already told his wife about them. The man demands that the girl stop these ridiculous fantasies. It is not even funny anymore. Hurt, Ruth threatens that if he does not confess his love to her, she will slander him in front of her parents and in front of Maria. Miguel patiently explains that there can be nothing between them. Ruth reminds him of his love letters to her. However, those were not letters but a collection of poems he recommended to the girl for a school project. And of course those poems cannot possibly have been addressed specifically to her. Miguel liked one of Ruth's photos on Instagram, but it was a photo of her dog playing, so it means even less. In short, he has no intention of continuing this conversation and shuts the door in Ruth's face. Right now Miguel has something more important to deal with, assembling the coffee table. The man does not miss the opportunity to joke about how strange it is that two people in the same place, their son and the sales consultant, both happen to have such a ridiculous name, Cayetano. Maria is already tired of hearing about it. Miguel, however, is convinced that she is angry because of the table. The man discovers that one bolt needed to secure the tabletop is missing, and he calls the salesman, demanding that the missing part be delivered straight to their home, since the table is so expensive. Miguel has no intention of going back to the store because of someone else's mistake. Despite everything, Miguel is very pleased, because he has finally chosen at least one piece of furniture for their home. Maria would prefer this table to stand not in the living room, but somewhere in the darkest corner, however it seems she will have to accept it. The woman is about to go to the store and asks her husband what to buy. Today his brother Carlos and his new 18-year-old girlfriend are coming over. Miguel replies sarcastically that Maria should choose herself, because he is allowed to make a choice only once every 10 years. Before leaving to go shopping, Maria tells her husband to try to put Cayetano to sleep. It will be the first time Miguel stays alone with his son. As soon as the door closes behind Maria, the baby starts crying loudly. The man picks him up, trying to calm him down, but in vain. When Miguel places his son on the rug, the tabletop, which had been lying face up, falls directly onto Cayetano. Maria was right, the salesman had brazenly lied when he claimed the glass was shatterproof. Cayetano did not stand a chance. From the shock, Miguel is unable to comprehend what is happening. Meanwhile, Maria calmly chooses groceries and wine and runs into her old acquaintance, Anna. The women strike up a conversation. Anna says she has divorced, her husband left her for a younger and prettier woman. Now Anna is raising her daughter on her own. Maria in turn talks about how much joy motherhood brings her, unaware of what is happening at home. Meanwhile, the women continue chatting. Maria explains that she and her husband recently moved into his grandmother's apartment, which he inherited. Miguel was not sure he wanted to have a child, but Maria is confident that he will do well in the role of a father. Right now the woman simply felt like walking around the shops in peace and quiet. For any mother, that is a rare luxury. When his wife calls, Miguel picks up his phone with a trembling hand. He hears Anna's voice congratulating him on the birth of his son. The man immediately hangs up. Maria assumes that her husband is simply busy with the baby. Still in shock, Miguel tries to figure out what he should do now. Maria calls again and asks which wine she should get. But Miguel barely reacts, his voice sounds distant. He hangs up again, which angers Maria. She cannot understand why her husband is behaving this way. Miguel places Cayetano back in the crib as if nothing has happened. Then he rushes to clean up the mess, but the bleach has run out. In despair, the man tries to think of something. His thoughts are in chaos. Eventually he goes to the neighbors and rings the doorbell. Ruth opens the door and immediately asks whether he has already told Maria about them. Miguel asks Ruth to leave that for later, because right now he needs bleach. The man lies, saying that he is painting the walls in the nursery. Ruth's mother joins them, and without any trouble lends Miguel some bleach. After that, in the hallway, he runs into the salesman, who has brought the missing bolt. The man emphasizes that the factory defect is not the store's fault but the manufacturer's. He also stresses that it is important to tighten all the bolts properly, otherwise the tabletop might fall and shatter, even though earlier he had claimed the glass was unbreakable. Miguel tries to brush off the intrusive man, while the latter insistently offers his help in assembling the table. The salesman also attempts to get Miguel full name and phone number, allegedly for a gift coupon, so the store can make up for the poor service. In the end, Miguel gives in, not immediately realizing what Cayetano's real goal is. The salesman's true intentions become obvious when he tries to ask Miguel out on a date. Miguel, however, shows no strong reaction and simply walks away. He has so little time before his wife returns, and he quickly cleans up the living room, where everything happened. His hands are shaking so badly, he still cannot process the reality of the situation. The decision to buy that particular coffee table turned out to be the worst one of his life. At last Maria returns. Everything inside Miguel turns cold. How will he tell his wife that their son is gone? And how will he explain why? The minutes it takes Maria to reach the 6th floor feel like a torturous eternity to Miguel. The woman rings the doorbell, but no one answers, which makes her worry. She starts knocking, while Miguel stands on the balcony. He cannot stand there for long, so he finally opens the door. Maria demands an explanation from her husband for this behavior. With difficulty, Miguel replies that he was putting their son to sleep, which is why he did not answer. He also asks her not to go into Cayetano's room yet, supposedly he is sleeping soundly. Maria says she almost went out of her mind, she thought something had happened. Miguel admits that something did happen, the new coffee table broke. The woman laughs, finding it ironic, and says karma has worked. In any case, the rug will have to be thrown away as well, because the stain cannot be removed. Maria is convinced that it is Miguel blood. The woman goes to the kitchen to prepare dinner, while her husband stares fixedly at one point. The guests will arrive soon. Miguel joins in the cooking. Maria laughs non-stop, recalling how the salesman praised the table and convinced them that the glass was unbreakable, yet in the end it did not last even a single day. She says she would have liked to see with her own eyes how it shattered. Miguel keeps a stone face, knowing that his wife certainly would not have wanted to be there at that moment. Maria jokes that the disgusting table was worth buying at least for this moment alone. She has not laughed this much in a long time. When his wife is about to go check on their son, Miguel does everything he can to stop her. The man says that he will take care of everything himself while she finishes cooking dinner. Maria feels that something is wrong. Miguel only says how much he loves her, no matter what happens. Since they became parents, they have grown distant from each other. The birth of the child changed their usual way of life. Maria hugs her husband, promising that they will handle everything together. Already in the kitchen, Maria hears through the baby monitor a sound, as if something is dripping. Miguel asks her to stay there while he goes to check. It is blood dripping. Without waiting for the guests, Miguel drinks one glass of wine after another. But this only increases his panic. Maria cannot help but notice that her husband is not himself today. Finally, Miguel's brother Carlos and his girlfriend Cristina arrive. Maria welcomes the guests. Carlos jokingly asks Miguel how the worst father in the world is doing. Cristina says that the table is truly ugly. Everyone notices how nervous and pale Miguel looks. When Carlos and Cristina ask whether they can greet the baby, Miguel says it is a bad idea, because it took him forever to put him to sleep. Carlos and Cristina did not come empty-handed, but with gifts for Cayetano. Maria is absolutely delighted with the baby clothes they brought. Realizing that the situation is spiraling out of control, Miguel shouts at everyone, telling them not to go into the nursery right now. Carlos thinks that his brother's condition is connected to the fact that the neighbor's girl keeps bothering him. Carlos asks him to tell the truth. Miguel, already on the verge, only replies that they will talk later. The women go into the nursery anyway, but they do not look into the crib, assuming the boy is asleep. Maria enthusiastically shows Cristina Cayetano's toys, some of which once belonged to Miguel. In the photo taken when they were discharged from the maternity ward, they look so happy. But now Miguel cannot bring himself to smile, while the others seem cheerful. Maria says they chose a spacious nursery in case they decide to have a second child. To Miguel's relief, everyone moves to the kitchen, takes their seats at the table and begins dinner. For the love of Cristina, Carlos has joined a vegan cult, yet he cannot live without Spanish tortilla. Maria cooks wonderfully. Everyone notices that Miguel is not eating or talking, he only keeps refilling his own glass of wine. In reality, he is on the verge of a breakdown. Maria talks about how much she loves her son, he was the goal of her entire life. The woman doubts she will ever do anything more important. Cristina is so happy for her. Carlos jokes that Miguel is no longer the main man in Maria's life. Cristina proposes a toast to the happy couple and their child. Miguel suddenly has a hallucination. It seems to him that through the baby monitor he can hear the voice of the sales consultant, praising the coffee table made of unbreakable glass. Carlos and Cristina share joyful news, they too are going to become parents soon, they are expecting a daughter. Maria congratulates them wholeheartedly, now Cayetano will have someone to play with. At that moment Miguel snaps and says he does not care. Naturally this angers Carlos, who still believes his brother is upset about the table. Miguel only confirms that buying that table was the biggest mistake of his life and walks off to the bathroom. Everyone is bewildered. Although Carlos is angry because of his brother's words, he decides to go talk to him. Meanwhile Miguel is crying in the bathroom and recording a farewell message for his wife. He cannot tell her to her face what he has done. And Miguel certainly will not be able to endure what will happen when she finds out. At that moment Carlos walks into the bathroom and asks who the message is for. The women wait in the kitchen. Maria does not understand what is happening. Everything went wrong after they bought that cursed coffee table. Cristina promises that together they will figure everything out. Miguel leads Carlos into the nursery and shows him Cayetano's body. Carlos simply cannot believe it. Miguel says he cannot go on like this, he is terribly tired and just wants everything to end as soon as possible. Struggling to keep himself together, Carlos asks his brother not to do anything foolish. Right now they will go back to the kitchen together and tell Maria everything. They cannot delay any longer. The doorbell rings, it is Ruth with her dog. The girl says she needs to speak to Maria and Miguel. The woman explains that this is not a good moment, but Ruth is very insistent. To prevent Maria from closing the door, Ruth declares that there is something between her and Miguel. Maria lets the girl in, and demands an explanation from Miguel, who cannot even utter a word. Ruth's dog begins barking loudly, having sensed the body. Maria screams at her husband, telling him to explain everything right now. She cannot imagine how this day could possibly get any worse. Carlos does everything he can to stop Maria from seeing her son. He begs her simply to leave with Cristina. But Maria insists that Carlos show her. He has no choice but to do so. While Cristina trembles with horror, Maria lets out a piercing scream and then walks out onto the balcony. All those present are united by only one feeling, hysteria. The police arrive. Dozens of curious onlookers gather. The officers discuss a case involving the death of an entire family. Apparently something truly terrible happened, after which the couple decided to end their lives voluntarily. Paramedics are now trying to calm the 13-year-old girl and the pregnant woman who witnessed the tragedy. The victim's brother is in shock and keeps repeating the same words, coffee table.